Drinking tea can have a positive effect on your voice if you've got the right teas. That's what we talk about today in today's tutorial for artist development from Open Mic UK. Now, I'm a big tea drinker. It fuels my day, it gives me energy. I've got a 4-year-old after all. But not all tea is perfect for your vocal cords. There's certain teas that you need to avoid to make sure that you have optimal performance. So, is tea good for your voice? Well, yes and no. It all depends about what teas you're talking about and how you're taking them. Now, there's lots of teas, so categorising them all could be completely stupid, but the general rule of thumb is that caffeine can be bad for your voice, and black tea is obviously much more harmful than anything else. Caffeine can also have a negative effect on your performance, say anxiety or stress. Try to avoid green and black tea because they'll have the highest level of caffeine, and maybe even try decaffeinated tea to reduce that anxiety and stress and panic should you go on stage and always be a bit jittery. In general, on its own, tea isn't bad for you. Loading loads of sugar into it certainly isn't helpful and doesn't give you the nutrients that you're needing. Not to mention piling a load of sugar into it gives you a boost of energy, but then gives you a slump that could make you a bit moody or a bit lethargic. However, if you was to switch to something like decaffeinated tea and use honey, not only are you removing the caffeine's negative effects, but you're also removing the refined sugar effect, and honey is also very good for your throat. It's a natural antihistamine, it's a natural anti-inflammatory, it's good and soothing and calming. Also, because it's a natural sugar, you won't get the drop as much as you would in refined sugar. Honey can coat your voice, giving a much more smoother sound. Now, is green tea better? From a health perspective, it's much better than the average normal black tea. So for general health, it's good, but for a singer, it's kind of a bit murky. The main thing to avoid when it comes to black and green tea is that it dehydrates your voice. Tea includes diuretic ingredients, which means you flush out the liquid. Now, obviously you can replace that fluid, but it's best not to get dehydrated in the first place. After all, dehydration not only makes you feel a bit rougher, but it can also affect your overall entire body and the conditioning of your voice. All singers should avoid milk, especially during vocal performances, especially during performance days and vocal performances. Adding milk to your tea kind of builds up on the mucus that you'll produce, which kind of muffles your tone. So for this reason alone, any tea taken without milk is better. So basically, green tea is better, especially compared to black tea with milk. So what teas are good for singing? Well, let's start with ginger tea. It's another popular choice with singers. It doesn't come with caffeine and it maintains blood sugar levels. You can add a teaspoon of honey, which helps, smooth your vocal tone. Ginger is packed with antioxidants, which can kind of look after your voice, look after your throat. And of course, ginger can boost your immune system, making you feel better and fight off those colds. You can easily make it in batches, store it in your fridge, and even heat it in the microwave. Now, black tea, things like PG Tips and Typhoo, Tetley, Twinings, Yorkshire tea, all the things that are out there, do include antioxidants, but they have a higher caffeine yield, so we tend to suggest you avoid those compared to others. But if you're hell-bent on using black tea, then try decaffeinated versions and non-dairy based milk products. These can include things like soy milk, coconut milk, nut milks. That way it prevents your voice from being clogged up. Chai tea, a delicious blend of spices and herbs, often served in a coffee shop in a latte. It's usually quite bitter in its own right and includes a load of sugar. A latte form is also very high in dairy, so I suggest you would avoid this. But if you do go this route, I suggest you use non-dairy based milk and maybe even a sugar-free option. Chamomile tea, the one that you sit down and relax and chill with. It's hydrating, it's gentle on your throat, it has relaxing properties, which is very good if you're sat there and you're struggling with your nerves or anxiety. A good drink before bed or after a gig to help you unwind. Fermented tea. Now, I'll be honest, this was completely new to me. It's an ancient practice primarily in the Far East, because fermented foods carry a lot of health benefits. It's very good for your digestive system because it's packed with probiotics. And there's fermented teas as well. Kombucha, for example, is grown in popularity recently, especially considering it started popping up in Wetherspoons in most countries. Now, it does actually contain alcohol, so although it's good for your immune system, we suggest that you limit it to 1 cup a day. But, drink it, particularly in winter, to fight off those pesky bugs and cold and flus. Flowering tea. Now, if you're looking for a tea for any occasion, this could be it. These are referred as blooming teas and normally include things like petals and flowers and leaves. The flowers actually bloom as they steep, so no matter how long you kind of brew them, they won't get bitter like other teas. The idea comes from the Yunnan province of China, and they have many powerful health benefits. For example, lily is an excellent choice for singers. It alleviates cough and prevents dry lungs, which can be important when it's winter and, you know, you've got the central heating on and you're all drying out. And lily can also soothe your nerves. Now, if you're looking for a pep-up, ginseng tea will help you. It's an anti-inflammatory that gets your blood moving, that kind of wakes you up a bit, can help you think a little clearer. The downside is it can add to the feelings of nervousness, a little bit of dry mouth, so maybe avoid it before a performance. Herbal tea. Now, once again, this kind of covers a lot of products. Nearly all of the things that we've mentioned previously come under herbal tea. They're also known as infusions, which don't even technically come under the phrase tea. Basically anything that's herbs or spices that you put in water, that's a herbal tea. And anything that isn't green, black or oolong kind of slips outside normal traditional tea. Iced tea and very cold drinks aren't good for singers. Icy drinks and ice liquids constrict the vocal cords, where in fact you want your vocal cords to be warm and free, hence why you go for a warm drink. Don't get me wrong, it's a lovely treat in the middle of the summer, you want to chill off, you want to relax. It often contains a lot of caffeine and a lot of sugar, so I get it, just don't do it before your performance. Make it a one-off thing and, you know, try the more warmer options. Throat coat tea. Now, most of the things that we've been discussing are either specifically brewed or are infusions. And they're a specific type of tea, whilst throat coat are deliberately engineered to look after the quality of your throat. They include things like licorice and slippery elm, orange, cinnamon, peppermint, all things that are known to encourage your throat health. These are normally medicinal grade ingredients, so people are much more stringent on what's in them, and it's normally classed much more of a dietary supplement than just a tea. So what's our top tips when it comes to tea? Flowering lily, lemon, ginger, throat coat and licorice all have the benefits to help your voice. But remember, you need to make sure of the things that to avoid. Too much dairy, too much caffeine can cause a negative effect. Now, if you want more help on what to eat during and before performances, I've done a dedicated video here, and check out our playlist of artist development tutorials here. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you soon.